Sir, coming to the show. We do have a lot of things to get to, as we usually do. We're going to give you some updates with respect to what the risks are for the South Dakota area. We've got a number of areas under the gun today for marginal risks, anyways. That would include Richmond, Virginia area, areas of North Carolina, even areas of Mississippi, Alabama, and areas of North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, all under the gun for marginal risk. But before I get going too much, I want to thank our wonderful sponsors, Mission Nutrition, Fit Revolution Nutrition, as well as Refuel. If you need energy or you need to get more fit, they've got great coaches that can assist you with that. Check them out today if you're in the Sioux Falls, South Dakota area. Also, if you've got storm damage, we got storms on the way for Wednesday and Thursday possible in South Dakota. So if you need help with that, Prairie Pro General Contractors can assist you with that, whether you need a new roof or siding, or if you need some new windows, they can take care of that for you as well. Whether it's residential or commercial, contact them for a free estimate today, 605-880-7776. All right, let's go ahead and break down the wonderful 7-day forecast that we have for South Dakota. For Sioux Falls, we have 90s again expected today. We're expecting to approach that 90-degree weather again tomorrow, but then storms do come brewing in overnight, Wednesday into Thursday. They'll slowly taper off as we get into Friday, and then looking very nice for your Saturday. 71, cooler temperatures, lows in the 40s. That breeze out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Monday, we'll ramp things up again, possibly for some more storms. We'll have to see how that plays out. There's not a whole lot of models agreeing on that right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at Aberdeen, what the weather forecast is looking like for that. Be one moment as my wonderful thing takes a little bit of time for it to pull up here. Come on, buddy. And evidently, Aberdeen doesn't want to work today. What is the deal here, people? Come on, there we go. It's not pulling up. Goodness. That's what happens in live, right? Well, I guess we're not. There it is. God, it took forever. Must be my computer having some delays with everything. Thanks for joining, everybody. If you haven't started following, make sure that you do. We do these live updates, 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time every day, as long as we're able to, anyways. Today for Aberdeen, 90s again. We're expecting we do have that red flag warning for areas of South Dakota today. Wednesday and Wednesday night, we have those storms possible. Just stay mindful of that. Dakota Judge, what is Louisiana, Kentucky looking like for the rest of the week? We'll go ahead and get to that. Dakota Judge, thank you very much for the question. We'll get to that very shortly. So stick around and we'll get to all of those risks very shortly. Again, Aberdeen area Thursday, the rain will kind of taper off. It won't be as much of a risk later in the day of Thursday. It's going to push on out and go over to areas of Wisconsin as well as Illinois and Indiana as we get into your Friday. And then Saturday, again, cooler temperatures for the most part for Aberdeen as well. The rain and thunderstorms does come back as we approach into Monday. Some more planes crazy insanity stuff happening. Rapid City area, look at this, 40 and 39 for overnight lows on Friday night. So you can definitely tell the cold front is coming through, and that's going to wreak some havoc with those possibility of storms over the weekend for your Rapid City area. Pretty much a wet pattern will be changing quite a few things here. So we do have 57 for a high on Thursday. Look at that. Pretty cool. And then thanks, Country Drive In, for the follow. Appreciate it. What is Memphis, Tennessee getting today? I'll take a look at that real closely here in just a moment. Pierre, South Dakota, we're looking at again, warm temperatures there, but we'll finally get some relief by the time we get to Thursday, but not without any crazy storms. Again, Wednesday night into Thursday, the theme is some slight risk outlined by the Storm Prediction Center. Main threat for Wednesday night into Thursday for South Dakota is going to be the hail and the wind threat. Friday will cool things down even more. It has a high of 61. 40s for the overnight lows, generally speaking, for areas of pure South Dakota. Now let's go ahead and get to the big event. What's expected today? We do have that marginal risk outlined. As you can see, today's SPC severe weather outlook that does cover areas of general thunderstorms for Memphis, Tennessee today. Not expecting anything real significant. The main threat for Tennessee would end up coming by the day 3, day 4 time frame, which would end up being, if I can get my math correct, so that would be for your weekend. So walk stars, hang on to your hats for areas of Tennessee for Friday into Saturday. Could get pretty risky. We'll take a look at that as much as we possibly can. That's a little long ways out. So walk stars, I appreciate you being here, but unfortunately, I probably won't be able to get to that because it's so far out. Dakota Jude, rather, not Judge. I don't know why I said Judge. What does Louisiana and Kentucky look like for the rest of the week? You can see it on the outline there. General thunderstorms is in the lighter shade of green for Kentucky for today and tomorrow. Then once we get into your Thursday, Friday time frame, things get a little dicey. We do have possibility of some risks there. Let me kind of show you and break down some of those risks for the Kentucky area a little bit more here. We've got to go over to day 4. All right, so then we do have those risks. This is the slight risk, basically. We do have pretty significant storms expected. We'll take a look at the GFS for this so that we could go out far enough with this. And timing would be in Central Time Zone up top. Again, thanks so much for the follows. I appreciate it. We're going to kind of look at, see, as you can tell, this, I'm going to, Illinois and Indiana, just be aware that on the 16th, things are going to get pretty dicey and you have that risk for tornadoes. All modes of severe weather are going to be expected for your Thursday into Friday for Illinois and Indiana. And then once we get into the 17th, make sure I got this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 16th and 17th. GFS is having a difficult time picking this up for areas of Memphis, Jackson, Nashville, Tennessee areas. Having a really difficult time. So the best I could do is probably bring up a NAM 12K, see if we can go out far enough for that. It's going to be a little risky to bring it out that far. Jay Jarrett, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Again, if you're just joining us, we do these lives every day, 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and we just kind of break things down for you as best as we possibly can. All right, and there, this one, the NAM 12K does a little bit better of a job, although it still is just kind of putting it meander around. I still would advise you, if you're anywhere in this yellow zone for your Friday and Saturday, stay weather aware because things could end up getting a little dicey for there. Let's go back to our risks. We want to stay on today's risks as much as possible. Thanks, Nicole. Is there any severe storms this weekend for Kansas? There is definitely a possibility for some storms this weekend. There was a lot of chatter for some of the storm chasers that I follow, as well as some other folks that are in my chat. They did say there's a possibility of that. We'll take a look at how that plays out here in just a little bit. So stick around. Appreciate it. All right. So what I wanted to show you right now is the near term interim here, the NAM 3K, because I'm in South Dakota, obviously, and I know it's not a huge state, but it still impacts lives. So I just want to kind of show you what we're expecting for areas of South Dakota. And this is for tomorrow. So there's the slight risk here. Marginal risk is in the darker shade of green, then general thunderstorms throughout much of the rest of the U.S. This is going to be a pretty big front, and depending on how quickly it moves along, we could have some significant severe weather overnight as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday daytime. I'm going to kind of progress this along as much as I possibly can. As you can see, 6 o'clock in the morning, kind of Rapid City area, getting a few showers, light thunderstorms, nothing real big. But then once we get further into the day, once we start seeing 4 o'clock, things up in Bismarck area, folks that are up in Bismarck, the I-94 area would want to be alert because there's a possibility of some damaging hail, destructive winds in that area around 4 p.m. And then the southern tier gets a little bit more energy as we get later in the day. Again, this is just an estimate, so just be aware of that. Aberdeen, wouldn't be a bit surprised to see some damaging gust winds, 60 to 65 mile an hour winds. Again, these are late in the day. And then as we get into midnight, so where's my Sioux Falls, South Dakota followers? Are they in here at all? We have anybody from the Sioux Falls, South Dakota area in here at all? Uh, Big shout out to you guys. So just be aware that once we get into midnight time frame, this is going to be basically a wall of wind that we end up having right here, east of Mitchell area. Hey, Nate, thank you very much. Got Nate on here from the South Dakota region. He's on Facebook with me. So as we progress this along further into the overnight hours, you can kind of see around 2 o'clock in the morning. Again, this is pretty much a wall of wind. Not anything that I'm planning on chasing at this point in time. Storms overnight, they don't scare me necessarily, but it's just nothing that I can really capture uh, in relation to that. So that's kind of what we're expecting for Sioux Falls, South Dakota area and South Dakota. Things can change. The tornado risk for that area, again, we have a large swath here. Let me verify that this was updated. That was updated at 12:36. Let me see if we have something that is updated a little bit closer. I went live a little too soon, I think. Let me make sure. Oh yeah, day two, we won't have an update until this afternoon. So just be mindful. Right now, 2% risk here for tomorrow for the tornado risk. It's not zero, but it is on the low end. So it just depends on how much capping could end up hindering some of that. If we take a look at the hail risk, doesn't show a whole lot. It's still 5%. Um, One second here. Let me go ahead and show you the wind risk. That's a little bit higher. Wind risk right in here, all the way up into areas of Bismarck. All right. Somebody was asking, is there severe storms this weekend? Isabella. So let's take a look at the NAM 12K for that and see if it's a possibility for this weekend. We're not able to go out with that, so we'll have to take a look at the GFS. Things for the weekend are a little tricky to figure out because we only have one weather model that can go out that far. So I'm terribly sorry, Isabel. It's going to be a little tough for us to get that far out. So as we get into 17th, this is putting things farther east than Kansas City area, but I'm a firm believer that I think Kansas City area is going to be under the gun for some severe weather. Let me kind of show you the Euro model. It's going to be a little bit easier to figure that out. Let me shut these off here. And I'm going to show you the 500 millibar wind. That's going to make it a little bit, hey, Tyler. Tyler, thank you very much for joining. Appreciate it. Yeah, we got some crazy weather that's expected here for tomorrow night into tomorrow, but it all depends on how the capping happens. If there's too much cap, then we won't have anything. So it's kind of a gamble. That's why I'm not planning on doing any kind of real chasing overnight hours. All right, so let's go to the weekend. European models having a struggle showing the ejecting of the trough as well. It's not that significant. Maybe possibility of some storms farther south than Kansas area. Stay tuned, Isabella. We'll have to take a look at this at another day at another time because it doesn't look like it's all that organized even based on all the different models. But the main thing is areas that you want to be aware of for tomorrow are going to be the Sioux Falls area, as you're under that slight risk for severe weather overnight into Thursday. And then we do have, you can see the risks up top, but I want to give you the tornado risk again. That is for areas of Sioux Falls encompassing Sioux City, Omaha area as well. And then as we get into where I live, it's going to hit in at 2 p.m. All I can see is little X's on your profile, so I'm not sure who you are. But where I live, it's going to hit in 2 p.m. I'm not sure where you live exactly. You don't have to tell me the city, just kind of a state would be great so I can take a look here and kind of help you out and verify that. All right, so day 3, this is kind of what we're looking at here. BJ Chambers wants, so Rochester, Minnesota, any days? Rochester, Minnesota, you likely will have some impact on Thursday. You go back to this one here. We're looking right now at day 3 outlook. So this ends up being your risk for Thursday. Rochester is in a marginal risk for that, so just be mindful and stay weather aware. Bloomington, Indiana. You guys are in a large slight risk, all encompassing even up into areas of Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan, just north of Louisville looks to be in that risk. Right now, this is the slight risk. Okay, this is day 3 that we're looking at, so we can't really give a whole lot of information because the SPC hasn't given out the risk for the tornadoes at this point. They get that once we get into day 1, day 2 time frame. So right now, this is a slight risk or probability of severe weather, 15%. While that may seem low, it's fairly high considering day 3. So these are areas I would suspect to have possibility anywhere in this swath of yellow. There's going to be a possibility of having hail, damaging hail, as well as a possibility of isolated tornadoes. We could take a look at some of the significant tornado parameters to kind of break that down a little bit further. I'm not sure if it's going to go that far out though. No, that's the tough part. Once we get into Thursday, it's still not a whole lot of models available. Chaser Isaac, this is fun. My weather radio going to go off in Macomb County, Michigan. Yeah, it's definitely going to go off for sure. Once you get into Thursday, it's going to be pretty nuts. If we look at significant tornado parameters for the 15th around 1 p.m., let me shut off these risks here for now. And let me just be clear, significant tornado parameters doesn't mean necessarily that I don't trust these things anymore. April 28th in moderate risk. April 28th. Why are we talking about the past? Let's move forward, folks. Let me let me see if I understand what you're hitting on with the I don't trust these things anymore, April 28th. The Storm Prediction Center, while I don't work for them, I want to make sure that you're aware. They release things based and risk levels based on the elements that are there. Just because they release a moderate risk and nothing comes true of it, That's great. I understand that it can cause anxiety. I understand that it can cause people to be like, "Oh, I don't trust them now." Well, don't let your guard down. It's just that there can be uh, there can be a single cell that just is able to break through the cap enough and then break up the capping of the atmosphere, and then things really can kind of uh, really blow up. So the risk is there. It's just there's other elements that are sometimes hindering things. So Chaser Isaac, you think my weather radio will go off today? Uh, if you're in areas of Michigan, no, not today. I mean, not Chaser Isaac. I'm not sure if you're an actual chaser or, and no, I am not a meteorologist. Tufts Weather, I'm not a meteorologist. I'll never claim that I'm a meteorologist. Great question, though. I'm just somebody that loves weather and use the information. Hey, Jeff, thank you. Let's see. I think tornado risk will be in Ohio and Indiana and Illinois. Yes, I think there definitely will be a risk of tornadoes in Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois area for Thursday, not today. You can see that with the day 3 SPC severe weather outlook. It encompasses much of those areas. There's a general thunderstorm, so it will probably be a special weather statement. I don't know if I even think that that's going to come, Chaser. Let's see. I mean, it's a possibility, but let me go ahead and take a look at that area. Michigan, Michigan. Let me take a look at composite reflective. Yep, Ohio, slight risk for Thursday. Storm moving into Detroit right now. Let me take a look at live radar to verify that. Chaser Isaac, what kind of storm? Um, just make sure we use the terminology storm, because from what I see on a live radar here, yeah, it's a storm maybe, but nothing severe. Yes, it is still one. Yes. Let's just not hype it up too much is kind of what I'm trying to make sure that we don't do. Yes, it's still a storm. It's just rain. And then just to show you the DBZ on this is pretty light rain. And if we look at the echo tops, let me kind of show you that information here. These are at like 16,000 feet. While we can sometimes get storms lower, severe thunderstorms lower than 40,000 feet, obviously, typically the significant severe weather ends up being 40,000 feet or higher. So echo tops even work. They basically reading the information, like how high up those clouds are is the best way to put it in a nutshell. It's reading it back from the radar to figure out how high up those clouds are. So the higher up, obviously, and with other elements as well, the more capable you have of hail being in there because it's got a lot farther to travel up, and you can get cold air up there, refreezing those raindrops, and then them continuing to cycle over and over again. Yes, I do use pivotal weather every once in a while. Just have a little bit of a tricky time with it. I've used the premium, and I don't really. I'd like to find something that's a little bit better. than any of those. How does Kentucky look? Kentucky today, you have nothing to worry about other than some general thunderstorms. No severe weather risk for today or tomorrow. Your severe weather risk does get a little bit more amplified, to say the least, as we get into Thursday. Chaser Isaac, yeah, you use Radar Omega. Yeah, that's what I'm using right now. So you definitely, you're welcome, Arizona dude. All right, let's go ahead and take a. It's going to be okay. Looking at Dubia Dirt. There's a number of different questions in here. Pivotal weather for Friday, Indiana and Illinois have PDS as possible. Okay, so you're looking. Let's just make sure Tufts weather. I want to make sure that yes, on their soundings. I knew that's what you were gonna. I'm glad that you mentioned that on their soundings. Yes, the soundings. We could show that real quick. Let's do that. We're gonna get a little geeky, folks. That's all right. We're gonna show you. Oh, Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, Illinois, be aware, weather aware for Thursday. You have all modes of severe weather are possible for Thursday into Friday. We're talking tornadoes, damaging hail, destructive winds. All of that is possible for areas of Chicago. And I can kind of give you a quick estimate here, and then I want to take a look at some of those soundings here. We're going to have to look at the supercell composite. I'll take a look at supercell composite here. All right. So when we look at supercell composite, what we do is we can kind of look at these numbers. The higher the number, I can't even read it for crying out loud. The higher the number, the greater the probability in this particular estimate of extensive supercells, a ton of them. So areas, even up into Chicago, your numbers are not zero, so they're pretty high in my opinion. From what you saw, Tufts Weather is saying from what you saw, cold front and not much cap. You're talking about Thursday, I'm assuming, Thursday into Friday. All right. Push forward. Yeah, Friday night. Gotcha. All right. A lot of chat. A lot of chat. Let's get this. All right. New York, Wednesday. All right. New York, your area would be a possibility of some storms running through Thursday. Wednesday, you're in a marginal risk. Let's pull that up here on Radar Omega real quick. My apologies. It's further south. It's hard to read that graphic when it's um, to the right. So that's why I wanted to pull this up here. So New York, for tomorrow, you're in the general thunderstorms. Don't expect anything real significant. Even if we look at the supercell composite, we're not seeing anything that suggests any severe weather in New York for tomorrow. So you're good. Is Macomb County in a slight risk? Let me shut this off. Again, this is for tomorrow. Chaser Isaac, no, Macomb County is not in the slight risk for today. T. Norfolk, how about Erie, PA? Erie, Pennsylvania, we're not expecting anything significant for weather today. Not even, I mean, it's going to be general thunderstorms today. Pennsylvania, again, possibility of some general thunderstorms tomorrow. Once we get into Thursday, that's where we could end up seeing that marginal risk as this crazy storm that's going to be impacting areas Madison, Chicago, Lansing, Detroit, Fort Wayne, all these areas. That'll push off to the east and eventually impact areas of Pennsylvania once we get into your Thursday into Friday possibility. All right, so that's a look at that. Let me go ahead and take a look at some of the soundings if I can here. I do want to take a look at some soundings for Sioux Falls as well. So 1 second here. That's the only problem with Pivotal is it gets really difficult to maneuver around just because you see here 1 second. Tufts weather, right? Let's take a look here, trying to see. Indiana area. 1 second, folks. Find a regional slot here where I can actually get that to show up. I don't know. I'm not going to look at the soundings. It's too tough to maneuver in it. I've done it, but I feel like I'm pressed for time. It did change some, yeah. And those are going to happen. Changes will happen with the models. Plus, my computer is kind of getting overloaded. All right, so back to the risks here. We do have the risks for, get those on. Again, today's risks, areas of Virginia, got Alabama. Go back through there. Supercell composite. Early on, it looks like 11 o'clock in the morning. Possibility of some storms developing near Huntsville, Alabama area. Doesn't look that significant until later in the late evening hours for areas of Virginia and North Carolina. Yeah, it looks like mainly still seeing a PDS tornado possible on Friday. Okay. Anything in Dayton, Ohio? Let me go ahead and go back to this composite reflective. Tufts weather got a negative 31 cap. That's, yeah, that's zero if you can get any. That's definitely zero. If there's no capped atmosphere, then all bets are off. We're Mesomat. This looks so bad on Thursday and Friday. I'm actually really nervous for once. Dang, for the fact that you're nervous, that's saying something, man. I am thinking about going to chase those possibly Thursday into Friday, but I'm not sure. 3,041 Cape, so we got a chatter going on with all kinds of chasers in here, and let's show what he's talking about. I think we need to kind of focus on that a little bit more. So let me shut these risks off that are for today. Usually it's about today's risk, but there isn't a whole lot going on. It's expected more so for Thursday into Friday. So let's take a look at some of these numbers that they're talking about. I'm definitely trusting Mesomat for sure. So let's go ahead and take a look at Thursday. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of cape in there. That's a lot of energy. Back that up a little bit. Sheesh. That is a lot of energy. Yeah, if they're in the Ohio River Valley, definitely need to be prepared. Going back to Thursday here, folks. So this is Thursday, early morning hours, and then once we get into the afternoon hours, 1 p.m. Look at that. It's 5,000 joules per kilogram. That's a lot of energy, folks. And then as far as the significant tornado parameters, that's a high number, a 9. Man, that is going to be bad. I wouldn't be a bit surprised then if they issue a moderate risk, at least for that area as they get into your Thursday into Friday. The time that we're looking at this is 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time. It's uncapped after 6 p.m. Not good. Yeah. That 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. time frame. Let's take a look at the cap. Oops, I got to back it up a little bit so I can see. Holy smokes. That is like, there's like nothing there. It's going to have explosive in the afternoon hours and just get more numerous as it goes through. But 21Z, hang on. That's one thing I still have yet to get used to is reading the 21Z. The Zulu time is, I'm not real good at that. Tough weather. Let me take a look and see what this looks like from a composite standpoint. I think you have to minus 5 hours or something to get to Central Daylight Time. All right, I got the conversion tables from the National Oceanic Atmosphere Association. All right, so your time that you're talking 21Z would end up being 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or 4 p.m. Central Time. What about 4 p.m. for Chicago area? 4 p.m. on Thursday, I'm assuming you're talking about. Why is this NAM having such a hard time? Just going through an update. So I'm probably going to have to do another update tonight, I think. 4 p.m. Thursday. These are having a really difficult time getting these to match up with what's expected. That's why we're looking at the numbers versus the composite reflective, because the radar estimates are not picking up on this being that significant. But when you look at the numbers, the supercell composite numbers are significant. So 4 p.m. is going to be pretty bad at 4 p.m. in areas of Chicago area. We're looking at this is Central Daylight Time up to the top. So the number of supercells possible in and around the Chicago area, and then Indianapolis, Indiana area. So I think what I'm going to be doing, yeah, yeah, tough weather, definitely. These are so far out right now. Anytime you get more than, shoot, any more than 24 hours out, it is very difficult, and these weather models are having a struggle putting it all together. But I would say there's definitely great potential there for significant tornado threat, in my opinion. Illinois, Indiana. Yeah, that cold front is really going to make it interesting. So, well, thanks all you guys for joining. I appreciate the heartbeats. I know this was kind of off the cuff a little bit, and we didn't really have an agenda too much. How does Richmond, Indiana look? Let me get that here. 1 second. Richmond, Indiana area, we're expecting for Thursday into Friday some significant severe weather. Let me show you the outlook here a little bit closer. Probability, pretty significant probability for all these areas in the yellow. Kentucky East, I'm near Lexington. Again, those areas, Kentucky will be right now, as of right now, it's a marginal risk, but I do suspect that this is going to go further south a little bit as far as that slight risk, and will cover part of Kentucky. So just be weather aware for your Thursday into Friday. You're welcome, Lori. Joseph County, Oklahoma, we're not expecting anything at this point in time other than general thunderstorms, but there is indications that the weekend, uh, Saturday, or not Saturday, Sunday and Monday, things next week basically for Oklahoma could get a little bit more ramped up. So just stay weather aware. Findlay, Ohio, going to look today. Findlay, Ohio, today, you don't have to worry about anything other than some general thunderstorms, nothing severe. Right now, what I have up is the risk for Thursday. And right there is the risk for today. As you can see, marginal risk of severe weather out west in western part of the plains, northern plains. Strataflort had rotation 2 days ago. It was looking scary. Yeah, that's just stay weather aware. Julianne Goody, I'm looking, my area around Chicago has 3,400 Cape. Yeah, that's a lot of energy. If you have a radar estimate, you can even look at surface-based SIN. That's the capping of the atmosphere. I would suspect that you probably have no cap there. You can even look at the bulk shear, 0 to 6 kilometers AGL. That's an option. And then also, one thing that we really didn't look at was helicity. Um, not helicity. Updraft. Have to go to NAM 3K for that. 33 over 3,300 cape and -12 cap and possible marginal tornado. Yep, that's according to the pivotal weather soundings. North St. Joseph in Michigan. Michigan for Thursday and Friday, you're going to definitely want to stay weather aware. You got all modes of severe weather are expected. The areas that I'm showing you here, this is Chicago. This slight risk for Thursday is going to be Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan. These are the higher populated areas, but anywhere in Chicago or anywhere in Illinois and Michigan, you're all going to be under the gun, and even Indiana and Wisconsin and Ohio. So Indianapolis, Indiana, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Toledo, Ohio, and those are the slight risks. We don't have right now from the Storm Prediction Center the risks for tornadoes officially out or the risks for hail. We just have probabilities because we're so far out yet. Tufts Weather, you're not a meteorologist, so everything I am saying could be wrong, but I'm trying to learn meteorology. Okay, well, I'm glad you said that, but there is some information that definitely that you've been stating certainly is just the big thing. Just don't get too anxious. And I know in my early days I got so anxious to talk about it and get kind of my adrenaline got going, and then I got so excited that I almost like wanted it to come true type thing so much. So Strataflora, you should be able to do a screenshot. Otherwise, what you could do is you could go to the best place for you would be spc.noaa.gov. Again, spc Sam Paul Conley.noaa.gov. That information, you can take a look at day 3 convective outlook, and that's going to give you the same information that I have. The only thing that I'm showing you on here is it's a Radar Omega app. It's just in an app. What time the severe weather will hit Chicago? This is going to be a super rough estimate. We don't know. I'm not even going to estimate right now. So the best guess would be sometime in the afternoon, but that definitely can change. So just be aware. The yellow is slight risk right now. Slight risk for severe weather. We don't have the probabilities for the tornado risk, although many areas in this yellow will be under the gun for a possibility of some tornadoes. Tufts weather, there is an area on significant tornado parameter that shows 5. Okay. Uh, what's the can you copy and paste the latitude longitude Tufts weather and I'll punch it in on that sounding. This is for Thursday, Nicole. This is for Thursday. We're looking at Thursday's risk because that's the highest risk that we have, Thursday and Friday. But I'm probably going to have to let you guys go and do a live either late tonight or, again, my usual ones, another 5, 1 with 6,000 cape, 0 cap. Yeah, if you can give me that one, that would be great. Thanks, Tufts Weather. Uh, I said just Thunder for today. What I'm looking at right now, Walk Stars, is a risk for Thursday. So for today's risk, Memphis, Tennessee area, general thunderstorms. To the right of you, or to the east of you rather, of Memphis, Tennessee, you have that marginal risk. but most of that is going to continue to move off into an easterly track. Don't expect anything real huge in areas of Memphis today. Coordinates. Okay, thank you so much, Tufts Weather. Let me take a look at that. I'm just going to pull that into County Road Robb Crossroads, Indiana. What? RAAB. All right, so what I'm pulling up now is Tufts Weather gave me a coordinates in here of where there was 6,000 CAPE, 0 cap in this area for, correct me if I'm wrong, Tufts Weather, but I believe for Thursday, correct? All right. So let's take a look at some other parameters here. I'm not going to be able to look at HRRR. Best that I could do is going to be looking at NAM 12K. Of course, it went through an update recently, so I got to go back to this. Yeah, looks like that area would be definitely anyone that's in this area on Thursday afternoon area time frame. This is right now as of this weather model run, 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. That would be an area that I would suspect is going to have a moderate risk, maybe even a possibility of a high risk for severe weather for your Thursday. Again, I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm just trying to make sure that people stay weather aware. So right around along I-74, I-65, encompassing even I-70. Yeah, that does not look good at all. So pretty much what we're looking at is this entire swath is all possibility, like some huge numbers that are coming back for probabilities of tornadoes. We're looking at significant tornado parameters, and these are numbers that give us the potential. It's not a percentage, but anytime you see these numbers that are higher than 2, it's pretty significant. Yeah, Tufts Weather, yeah, definitely might be. The Storm Prediction Center is pretty reserved lately, I feel like, on issuing the high risks, but I would be very surprised to not see a high risk for Thursday, Friday outlooks. But I do have to let you all go. I've got to get to work, but I'm going to be back likely, well, definitely tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'll do a live update and we'll get a better idea of how this is all going to play out. I've got Thursday off of work, so I may be chasing some storms live in the field. Just depends on how this plays out and how much gas money I can get. Right now, I'm getting pretty close to broke, so it might be a little tough. You guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, everybody. Again, the risk for today is mainly in the Richmond, Virginia area, North Carolina, Virginia, even a little part of West Virginia, and as well as Huntsville, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. Those are marginal risks, and even out to the western part of like the Black Hills for marginal risk.